I know you would have just gotten up and it's Saturday and it's at home. But switch on your cameras, please.
Yeah, it's recording. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's recording.
Cool. Catch up of the past week. Yeah, first set of brands went live for the Kantara initiative. I think bell curves, all smooth sailing, a lot of, I think like a front end facing site we built, and then there's a Stripe integration that Vidya has been working on. Subi has progressed more, wherein we are going to get a new front end soon, but all the functionalities are now working. Did a few backend changes. WFX was really good this week. I think we wrapped up a lot of things with TechPack. We had some issues with brand ID, fixed those. Ran the TTT10 TechPack test. Also did a sales order, what is that, salt test, sales order reporting test. Had a call with multiple calls with them. Gaurav, Varun, with this thing. Varun Seed built the whole NL to SQL in 1 week, deployed it with a good front end built by Jay Surya. And that was pretty good. Had a call with Jatin, who was the CEO of WFX yesterday. And I think Shopper backend, we've now have the working WMS module, going to start admin soon. Lots of interesting things there. A-lister, we didn't do much this week. We've been working a lot on this ClickTech.shopper and PocoBlue shopper site. But I think we have a very good clarity on, say, the next 3 months, 6 months timelines on what to do with cross-border e-com, ClickTech, big buyers, and like the larger horizon from our meeting with ClickTech on Thursday. What other project or whatever Planner AI we're doing with WFX? I think that's going to be super cool. Still in some early stages of discussion, but looking to see where that will go. Yesterday, I was talking about this Harvard person. So I have a friend who's Alex from US. I've been speaking to him for like a year now. And his friend and now co-founder is this guy who studied at Harvard, and he has 2 maths degrees from Harvard. And I was just talking about, we just, like, Alex and I talk once a week on Fridays, and he knows everything that's happening at Alaiy. Like, he knows about A-lister, knows about WFX, knows how big the team is, knows a bunch of you and all that. So I'll do a joint call with him sometime. And he just started a company, and they work with a lot of franchisee partners and teach them about effectual entrepreneurship, which I'll tell you more about, or read up about effectuation. So in short, I was like, hey, we're trying to do a lot of analytics and math related things that we don't know much about. Would this be interesting for you to do? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so we're having a call on like coming Tuesday, wherein for A-lister, bunch of reporting analytics tools we want to build, which are like mathematical. We'll just see if we can collaborate there. So yeah, I think all in all, cool week. We have some tight deadlines. We have to share some 600 ASINs with ClickTech after cleaning up by Monday, and then the rest of some 900 something by the end of the week. Still a mammoth task to do. Prakash, who is with us, is now studying CFA for the next month and a half. So he won't be coming to office. I'll still be bugging him on some smaller tasks, but wishing him all the best. Cool. So I think Wednesday night or Thursday night, I texted Akshita and said, hey, this week, take a session. You figure out what you want it to be about. And I think kudos to her. She took it up in good spirits and now has a session on authorization, authentication, why Superbase may suck and why anything else, or how this whole
I
thing.
haven't included Superbase. You keep talking about Superbase.
You keep talking about Superbase. You're like, hey, it's a Superbase.
I didn't mention Superbase.
I'm like, what is happening with Subi? You're like, Superbase. Superbase is.
That has 120 tables in Superbase.
Okay. So, big cheers to Akshita for the session and over to her. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just present my screen.
Oh, also quick note. This is actually Prerna has just completed 1 week at LA. It's been like she's been here for a while. But
Yeah, yeah.
good job, Prerna.
Thank you, thank you.
I was thinking, do we have any new joinees? I'm like, Prerna just joined.
Yeah. No, I think it's because I attended the Saturday sessions before that also. That's it.
Uh, okay. Cool. Akshita, over to you.
So, hi everybody, good morning. I'll be talking about mainly authentication today, not authorization as much. And it's not going to be very technical. I try to make it a little less technical and more about the fundamental concepts. So, uh, authentication is basically how the web remembers you after you log in and enter your credentials. So I'll be talking about cookies, sessions, JWT, SSO, which is single sign-on. Uh, so yeah, fundamental difference between authentication and authorization. Authentication is basically how you are identified, how you can prove who you're claiming you are. So there's a bunch of different methods for authentication. The most common method obviously is like username and password. So it's the simplest way of authenticating somebody. Passwords are stored in the database. They're not stored directly as text, but obviously it's encrypted. And anytime a user enters their credentials, there's a search to the database, and passwords are matched, and then you can sign in successfully. Second way is definitely multi-factor authentication. So anytime you've tried to log into an application and then it sends you a code to say your phone number or to your Gmail account, or maybe it asks you to like a push notification app, which is basically what Okta does, or like Microsoft, they have like push notification apps. Biometrics is definitely like signing in with your fingerprint, which like Google Pay does. And SSO is basically single sign-on, wherein you have entered your where you're using an app which has another app inside of it. So instead of entering your credentials in both places, you just need to enter your credential once and you're remembered, and then any other application that is inside of it, you can use it simply. Simplest example of authentication is obviously logging into your Google account. Uh, Authorization is different from authentication. It is basically defining what permissions that you have. Like authentication is that you have signed in and that you are an existing user of this application. But then there are a set of rules whether you can read, you can write, you can view some documents, or you're allowed to make changes. What all permissions you have to change on that particular application is basically authorization. The simplest way is definitely role-based access control, where there are a different set of users. One is admin, there's registered users, there's guest users when you don't want to log in, or there's like some premium feature which only paid users can have. So all of these things are role-based access, and these are mainly defined in permission tables, which are defined in the database. So the database, like the admin can toggle it in the database, which user can read, write, or update, etc. There's something called access control lists, which basically control the access you have to specific resources, which might not be limited to like reading or writing, like some files or some uploads, etc. Or if you have the ability to view maybe like a URL. So a simple example is just firewall. So sometimes firewalls don't allow you to access some URLs or some domains. So that comes under access control lists. And policy-based access is pretty similar, except it does not define on the base of role, but based on like some different policies which you can define. For example, if you want only members of a particular team to have access to a resource, so you can define a policy based on that, or you want people from a certain geographical area location to have access to a resource. So you can create personalized policies based on that. Um, Simplest ways of authentication are definitely sessions and cookies. Anytime you've logged into any application, I'm pretty sure you've gotten that pop-up which says, "Do you want to accept all cookies?" So I'll just briefly explain what a cookie is. Uh, what cookies and sessions are basically, they go together. So cookies can be like either from the website that you're visiting, or it can be like a third-party website. Uh, it is basically It is basically a key value pair. So it is stored in the form of text inside your browser. Uh, so Cookies are available on the client side, so they do not store much sensitive information. It is very basic information like your user preference, such as if you want to use like dark mode or light mode, or like uh, simple things that you've set your name, or if you have uh, like it does not store sensitive information. It also stores like your session ID, which basically is how you're identified on that particular website. So that session ID is obviously encrypted. You cannot make out anything from it directly. I'll explain the basic flow of how a session is created. When a user submits their credentials, a request is made to the server. The server will verify that whether the password you've entered is correct. And if it is correct, then the server will generate a session ID for you. It will store all of these metadata about your username, about your password, etc. And it will store it in the server itself. The only thing that is returned to the client side is a session ID. So it is set in the cookie itself, and then after that, any other like HTTP requests that you sent are stateless. They're independent from each other. So in every request, you need to send an identification of who you are and whether you are authorized to be using this particular resource that you're accessing from the server. So for each uh, request, you need to send in that session ID back. And then the session ID is stored in the request header. And then each time a request is sent back to the server will verify the session ID, whether it's actually existing or whether it has expired, whether it's uh, related to that current user. And then it will verify your request. And then you can, like, whatever that request is supposed to do, you can do it. So the browser will automatically send this cookie in all the future requests. So uh, there are a few security concerns related to these cookies. First is definitely they're stored on the client side. So it is available to anybody who can just go to the browser console, go to inspect, and then go to application and check whatever cookies are stored. So you don't want to be storing any sensitive information there. So there are so cookies when they're created, they have a few attributes. So first attribute is HTTP only. So we do not want these cookies to be accessible to JavaScript code. We want it to be accessible only to the HTTP requests that we're sending. So this is mainly to prevent it from excessive attacks, which is like excessive is basically cross-site scripting, where any attacker can send in like a JavaScript code which scrapes your entire website, gets your browser cookies, and then has your login information and can use it in a malicious way. So always cookies are set to HTTP only. The second thing is setting the cookies as secure so that the cookies are transmitted over only HTTPS connections and not HTTP, so that like we need to prevent man in the middle attack so that our information cannot be accessed while transferring this cookie. And the third thing is setting the cookie as same site. So we do not want these requests or these cookies to be accessible from a site which does not have the same domain. This prevents CSRF attacks, which is cross-site request forgery. I'll be talking about all of these bit later as well. And yeah, so sessions and cookies, these are the most basic way of authenticating any user. A better way would be JWT, which is like JSON Web Tokens, which are a more safer way of sending this information since they do not require anything to be stored on the client side. They do not require a database lookup. All of this information is stored exactly in the JSON Web Token. So From the name itself, it's like an object which is in the JSON format, and it is self-contained, which means it contains all the information about the user inside itself, and it is transmitted again. It is transmitted with each request which is sent to the server. The main benefits are definitely scalability, since we do not require a server. We do not require anything related to the server side, so everything is stored in this token itself. Second is cross-domain. We can use these same JSON web token for different domains, so if you're using any website and then you want to go to some other website, these JSON web tokens can be transferred. And the decentralized, which is that the session ID does not need to be verified or looked up. We need only one particular secret key, which is used to encrypt these tokens. And the basic structure of a JWT, which is it has a header, it has a payload, and it has a signature. The header contains the information about the token, what type it is, which is JWT. It contains the algorithm which is used to encrypt this JWT. The payload is the main part, which contains the information about the user, the permissions that the user has, when the token is going to expire, etc., and the signature. So the header and the payload, they are not encrypted on their own. They're just encoded. So it is like, since it is basic encoding, it can be accessible. So the signature is what uses the secret key to encrypt it using the algorithm which is mentioned. So we encrypt the header and the payload together along with the signature, and that is how the JWT is created. And it can be so there's two basic methods, which is JWT.sign, which is signed along with the secret, and verify, so that the token can be verified along with the same secret key. Uh, so why are we using JWTs over sessions? There are three major drawbacks of using sessions in any applications. First, they're not really scalable, because if you're storing it in a particular server, suppose you have multiple servers in an application and you're using like a load balancer to maintain the load between these servers. You cannot use it in an application which is using sessions, because the session needs to have the session is stored in a particular server, and when the user is logging in, they need to have access and need to be assigned to that specific server itself. So there's something called sticky sessions in these scenarios, where users are locked to specific servers itself. So even if you're using a load balancer to maintain the load, some users will be stick to some particular servers itself, which can cause like a disbalance. If a user, say, there's server A and B, and if users of server A are making more requests, then there's no point of using a balancer, because there will be more traffic in server A itself. So, and then if like, even though we have multiple servers, if that particular server fails, then that user cannot log in or use the application at all. So it locks the user to the specific servers, and it prevents like scaling. So second way is, if we don't want to lock the user to a particular server, we use like a single point, which like a single shared database or a store, which is like Redis or some other. Instead of in-memory cache, we're using like Redis. So that has the session information from all the servers. But then it's the same thing, that it cannot be scaled, because it has a lot of information related to all the servers. And if that particular database fails, then that entire application fails, and then it just adds more complexity to it. And obviously, the major point is that increases the latency, because it increases one, everything needs to be validated from the server using the session ID. So it increases the time taken, it increases one more database lookup, etc. Which is why JWTs are preferred over sessions. But like, JWTs also have a few drawbacks. One of them is basically uh, the expiry time needs to be defined in the JSON Web Token. So if your JSON Web Token has been compromised, so it cannot be deleted until its expiry time. So it can be used like it can be used in a wrong way. Second is, definitely it stores a lot of information in itself with the user ID, name, etc. So uh, it increases, like it requires much more storage than a session. And uh, yeah, so JWTs rely basically on two mechanisms. One is they have access tokens and they have refresh tokens. So in order to be secure, so they have access tokens which have like very limited lifetime, say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So once you're sending in a request, that access token is used to verify your identity and verify your credentials. And then after 15 to 30 minutes, that token will expire and it will return a 401, which is you're not authorized to do it. This is where the refresh token comes in. So every JWT has like a refresh endpoint, which is hit when the token access token expires. This refresh token creates a new access token, which can now be used again in all further requests. So, so that even after 15, 30 minutes, when that access token has expired, the refresh, we do not need to log in again. The refresh token automatically creates a new access token. Uh, this is mainly for security purposes so that access tokens can keep changing and it limits the danger if even if your token is exposed. So major question where you should store your tokens.
Once again, Akshita,
Definitely,
are you changing the
yeah.
slide?
Yeah, can you not see the slides?
No, we can only see one slide. Yeah.
Oh, I've been changing the slides all the time. Were you stuck at slide one?
Yeah.
Oof, I didn't know that. Can you see the slide now? Can you see it now?
I can see slide 7.
Yeah, so you didn't see all of these slides.
No.
Could have told me earlier.
By the way, how did you make this PPT?
I used an AI PPT like this.
This looks really good. That's why.
Yeah, I'll just keep it like I won't do full screen, otherwise I think the slides are not
Yeah.
working. Yeah. So uh, I was talking about where you should store the tokens. Um, Local storage, it's the client side storage, which is available to the user, and you can see it you can see it in the browser. Uh, Pros are obviously it is very easy to implement. It has a good storage capacity. You can use it across browsers so that if you log into one tab and then you're on another tab, the local storage persists on the same website. So that's a pro, but it's still available to the user. So you cannot store any sensitive information on that. It does not have like an expiry. You either need to like clear your local storage. Uh, yeah, and XSS attacks, obviously, any user can use JavaScript to access these tokens, so it can be easily used by anybody. Session storage is, when compared to local storage, the only difference is that when you close the browser, the session storage is cleared on its own, and it is limited to the current tab. But the same security risks are there in session storage as well. So to prevent these risks, we need to we need to set an attribute on the cookies which says HTTP only, so that they cannot be accessible by JavaScript, and we can set secure flag so that it can be transmitted only over HTTPS. But they have a size limitations, so that's one drawback. And the security threats, yeah, I've already talked about this. So apart from sessions and JWT, which is the standard way, there's something called OAuth2, which is basically a protocol for authorization. So it is mainly for authorization, not authentication. And the basics are that it is a protocol which is defined so that the users can access some particular resources from a third party. Say, for example, you're on a website and then you need to grant access to like your Google Drive, like you need to upload some images from your Google Drive. So you get a pop-up which says sign in with your Google account, whichever account you're going to choose. And it does not require any password. It does not require any credentials, just your Google account. And then you can access resources, say, on your Google Drive. So even after logging in with your Google account, this particular website can only access Google Drive since that's what you've given authority, that's what you've given access to. It cannot like use any other things from your Google account, say your Gmail or say your calendar. It cannot have access. It is limited to the only thing you're giving access to. So uh, what basically happens is you're on a website, which is the client, and then you send a request to an authorization server, which is the third party website, and then it sends back an access token, which says that these are the list of things you can use in this website. So there's like permissions defined, there's no password sharing, there's tokens defined. So it's a very secure way of you giving your website access to any third party services. What OpenID Connect is basically it's an authentication protocol which is defined over this OAuth2. So it defines how the token which the authorization server is creating should look like, what your password should be, what your password type should be, what your token type should be, what your user info should be. So it defines the authentication rules over this authorization protocol. And yeah, this diagram basically shows how from the client app you're sending it to the auth server, and then this user is authenticated and authorized, and then you're sent back a token which has your client ID, which has your redirect URI, basically the link where you want to be redirected. It also has two things called code challenge and a code challenge method, which is basically for the server to verify that you're the exact client which requested this information and that the authorization server has granted access to it. And yep, that's it. There's one more thing called SSO, which is single sign-on, which I talked about in the beginning, which basically is that when you're logging into an application, which is like multiple applications already inside of it. So in like it would be very difficult if you're logging into the parent application and then you have to enter your credentials again in the child application and again to access three, four other applications which are inside of it. So what single sign-on does is it uses like an identity provider, which is like a third party, say Google, Microsoft, or GitHub, etc. So in this third party, what happens is when you're signing in with your login credentials, you are sent to the server of this third party provider. It will generate a cookie for you, and that will also store all your information in its own server as well. Like it will create a session for you, it will store all of this information in its own server, and it will send back a session ID. So in your parent application, now you will have two cookies. One is for your own application, the second is from the identity provider. So after this, you're trying to log into your child application, say from the same uh, domain. So when this request is sent, it automatically first goes to this identity provider and checks if a session has already been defined. If that session has been defined already, then it will verify that session, and you do not need to enter your credentials again. It will just return that this user already exists, and it will create a session for your child app, and then the cookies for that can be stored there. So you do not have to log in multiple times. You can log in once and then you can access all the authorized applications. There's no password or credential management for these separate applications. There's like a central authority, which is this identity provider, which monitors all users, monitors all access control. And then one single logout will terminate these sessions across all these applications. So there are a lot of like 30 plus identity providers. Uh, there's advanced security measures for these providers, which is like multi-factor authentication, like logging in with uh, email or like sending an OTP to your mobile number. There's anomaly detection, which basically is sometimes when you're logging into your Gmail account from, say, a new device, then it will automatically send in like an email to your application saying we noticed a login from we noticed suspicious activity, or we noticed a login from this particular device which is located here at this particular timing. So we have options for no, these can be based geographically, these can be based on the time of the logging in, they can be based on the kind of device that is being used to log in, the kind of operating system, the IP address, everything. So this adds like an additional layer of security to it. And SSOs can be used very simply because they have very user-friendly APIs and SDKs which can be used for each of these identity providers. And there's good analytics also provided for all the users that are logging in. Uh, yeah, so these are the basic different ways of authenticating a user. Now I'll talk about what are the different kinds of attack and what we need to actually be like create more mechanism to be secure against these common attacks. First is basically SQL injection, where an attacker can uh, modify your SQL queries. Say you have a query which selects the user and a password. So the attacker can write a condition which is like 1 equals to 1 and add it to that same query so that it will always return to true. And then it can have access to all your data from the database. So uh, the main ways of preventing these are like parameterized queries, or we can validate the input in a better sanitized way. Second is cross-site scripting. I've mentioned this so many times already, but it is basically how via JavaScript, by running like a JavaScript JavaScript uh, code, we can have access to the entire client's browser side and get access to all the session ID cookies, and then get the token and use it in other requests to access multiple things. So one way to prevent is using HTTP only cookies and headers. Uh, Cross-site request forgery is basically when when like a request which is not fully protected is like when a request which is vulnerable is exposed to the client side. So what attackers usually do is they can add these to links in your website, or they can make it a simple click, so that suppose you're clicking on a link or you're clicking on an image, this request automatically gets sent based on your credentials, but you're not actually authorizing this. So we can set a header in the cookies which says same site so that we cannot use this cross-site request. And last is very simple token leakage. In the browser dev tools, you can like see the tokens, but it's all obviously encrypted. Or sometimes while developing, you can add console log statements which accidentally expose your tokens. Or sometimes we have redirect URIs which have the token mentioned in it directly. Uh, yeah, so a few different ways in which we can prevent all of these. One is parameterized SQL queries, validating the inputs correctly, setting proper attributes for the cookies, not storing it in local storage, avoiding the parameters in the URLs, etc. And yeah, choosing the right authentication approach based on your architecture, the size of your application, the load it might face is really important. For simple, normal, small size application, sessions and cookies are preferred and recommended because they're very easy to implement uh, and you do not require much scalability. For like apps which have more load, which microservices, JWTs, and refresh tokens are recommended because they can be scaled horizontally more. They can be used across cross platforms. They have more security. And for like applications which have more applications inside of itself, like a parent or a child application together, single sign-on is usually preferred because it has like a central management where you can manage the all users and but it is more complex to implement. So yeah, uh, we already talked about this, the best practices for security for using cookies and JWTs. So yeah, apart from JWTs and cookies, new methods of authentication are being developed, which also includes like passwordless authentication. So instead of having a simple user credential and password input, nowadays websites also use like cryptography to authenticate a user, which is basically once you're going to a website, you are assigned like a private key and the website has a public key. So each time you're sending a request, that private key and public key are used to your verify your ID. There's biometric integration, which is already used. Uh, this continuous verification for each access request, so that on each request you are like your identity is verified, and this AI powered security, which I already said. So ML algorithms and AI is being used so that if you're logging in at an odd time or at an odd location or using a new device, you automatically get like uh, email. For example of, I'm using the example of Google. So anytime you log into your Gmail account, you automatically get like a flag that this device has tried accessing your Google account, etc. So yep, that's it. That is more mainly about authentication and all the different things. Yep, thank you.
Cool. Um, no, continue sharing. No, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
My first question is, why are they called cookies?
I don't know the answer to that.
Um, okay, what are some, if you were to say some 4 or 5 point checklist for me to ensure that my web app is safe while I'm implementing auth, what are some things that I should ensure?
Uh, if you're using sessions and cookies, first thing is definitely to set the cookies as HTTPS so that it can be transferred only over HTTPS requests and not HTTP.
You had that in a slide, no? Just go there.
Yeah. Yep. I had it in one more slide.
This one, yeah. No, the one with three. This one, seventh one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, first thing is definitely make the cookies HTTPS so that it can be transferred only over secure sites. Second is using HTTP only cookies so that like JavaScript or some other, like you cannot, like the, since it's stored on the client side, JavaScript can easily have access to all the cookies that are stored. So we want it to be HTTP only cookies such that only HTTP requests have access to the cookies and not JavaScript. And uh, third thing is same site attribute should be configured on the cookies so that like requests which are sent from another domain or another site cannot have access to these cookies. Yeah, by using session and cookies, these are the three main things we need to do to make it more secure.
Okay, cool. Guys, questions? Anybody? Rahul does a lot of cookies, or he keeps telling some loopholes over here. Rahul, do you have any questions?
Um, okay. So, like, no questions. It is cool.
Okay, what's the easiest way I can hack into auth? Like, I want to hack into somebody's web app.
have access to their JWT token, like JWT, um, use it in other requests. I mean,
Okay,
it's
where
not
can I
that
get
easy,
somebody's
obviously.
JWT token?
you, I'm not sure either how you can hack into it.
Okay. Cool. Prerna, Amit, Tejas, questions?
So one question I
Question?
had. Oh,
Oh, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. So the access tokens, you said that local storage and session storage are not the right way to handle that. So what is a better way in how we can handle it? Because I think that is what we were doing till now, and yeah, that's not advised, right? So
Were we?
yeah, we were
Oops.
storing access tokens in local
In local,
storage.
no?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. For A-lister, is it?
I think for pretty much everything.
No, for A-lister login authentication, it uses cookies, I saw.
Does it use cookies? I think it's access tokens because in backend I use the access token to decode.
Yeah, that's correct. But in the front end, it's not stored in local storage, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
But
Like in the front end, it must be stored in a cookie, right? Not directly in the local storage or session storage.
Are you sure, Rahul? Like, are we doing that?
yes,
Or did you change it?
no, I had not changed it, but I'm sure ki it is not stored in local storage. Yeah.
No, it's being stored in the session storage.
Oh, session I
Yeah.
did not check, but
Yes, yes. We
local
need to
it's not stored.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So if we store it in the cookies, that should solve our issue, right? And we need to
Yeah,
make sure, that it can be accessed only through HTTPS and those things. Yes. Cool.
yeah. You can set those attributes while creating the cookie.
Got it.
It's written HTTP only cookie. So should we do HTTPS or HTTP?
No, so HTTP only is for ensuring that it can be accessed only over HTTP requests and not by JavaScript. And when you set the attribute of a cookie to secure, that means that it can be transferred only over HTTPS requests. So, like, they do two different attributes.
Okay. So Tejas, what all do we need to do to change our auth now for our projects?
No, I think we can for now just move to JWT tokens instead of like relying on Zookeeper. But yeah, and then we need to make sure we handle it properly. I think Shopper B2B, we had a nice way to handle it. So we had a Lambda auth, which would authorize the request and only then send it to our backend. So we need to explore methods like that. Plus, yeah, front end, we can't store it in local storage or session storage.
So what happens when it's in local storage? If I get access to your local storage cache, I can use your token and I can hack into the site. Huh?
Yes.
You can use the token and send other requests.
Okay, now I want to
Pretending
hack
to
into
be
somebody's
somebody else.
site.
Yeah.
How do I know whether they're doing local storage of auth token?
You
Can I
can just
answer that?
You can go to the browser. Yeah, I'll just show where it's actually stored.
Wait, I'll show you
So you
one
can
second.
like in the inspect where you go to inspect in the browser dev tools, you can go to local storage and session storage and check what is exactly stored there.
What do you want to so badly hack? Like,
I
uh,
always want to hack my.
uh,
That's all I do. Wait 1 second. I have a site. Akshita, just share your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, they revamped this site. I want to do two sorts of things. Okay, Tejas, I want to do like a DOS attack for this. Two is I want to figure out if I can hack and log in.
we'll do a DDoS attack.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Uh,
I'll give you the site.
yeah.
SVYASADDE.com.
Isn't this something you guys built?
SVYASA. What?
SVYASADDE.com. Share screen. Your screen is not visible.
Yeah, 1 second.
They revamped this site.
Is it some institution site?
Yeah.
So here, when you go to application, you can see what all is there in the session storage, what is there in the local storage. There's extension storage, there's cookies, everything is visible. So see, this cookie has like your session ID, which is encoded, obviously, and some other random values. And I'm not logged in right now.
So, like, is this hackable? If I give you one login credential, can you?
No, like, what do you want me to do with that login credential?
Okay, wait. I want to open. Essentially, I want all. I mean, existing users, their username, password, phone number, whatever details it has.
You want database access?
Hmm.
No, you can't get that from one single user's credentials.
Okay, what can I do with like a single user? I'm thinking. Okay. What do you think is a site, Tejas, wherein like if I have a user's login credential, there is something valuable inside that I can steal?
So if you have a third person's user credentials, then you can maybe like make payments on their behalf or something like that. Just
Why will
based
I
on
make
them.
payment on their behalf? I'll take payment
No,
on
like
their behalf.
whatever.
Oh, okay. I can use their.
Like,
I'll use
yeah.
their credit card to pay for Amit's landing AI bill.
Or if you have login ID and password for Zerodha, maybe for some big tool.
No, I want to know like people who are not so smart who would have done this local storage, local storage and all in a site.
Fine, bro. You don't have to mock us.
No,
Mock
like
us smart.
somebody else's site such that we can hack it. Zerodha and all will have some state-of-the-art security.
Yeah. I can think of Shopper. Shopper has nothing.
Hopper, you already have DB access, da. What?
You already, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
You can make DB access and give yourself 20 lakh rupees in your Shopper account.
I want to see how secure Peso Academy is.
Yeah, but now there's no use of us hacking it.
No, yeah, but like you can pay fees also there only, no?
Ah, anything where payments are involved, I think generally people are
Yeah,
smart.
they would
Like
have made
they
it
will
extremely
check
secure.
it and they will do something. But anything around payments where somebody is not seeing. Okay, like what all do I need from a site to hack it or
Oh,
to
but
do
I
the.
think
Hmm.
even though if their payment is secure, but accessing their DB is not secure, then like we can make transactions in DB.
Oh
Like
yeah, if I can just change
uh,
the like
numbers in DB, then
yeah, correct. Like what we can do with Shopper.
yeah,
Who would have built their own e-commerce custom, not Shopify site, custom site? That's a good
Dukan.
dukan.
Yeah, you guys only built it.
No, that there are no transactions there. No, there's
Oh
no
shit.
auth also. Okay, how to do DDoS attack?
DDoS is, I would say, similar to like your load testing, where you have multiple devices and all of them flood requests. So that, like, for others, the website becomes unusable.
But it becomes unusable only for that time period. No, like after that, again it will come back up.
Yeah, but like, say something like a Salar fan army page, someone does
Uh,
a DDoS attack, then the hype will not be there, right? Like, you want at that particular instance.
no, but I'm asking in yoga courses page,
Ah.
like when more people use it in a one day. Nobody's hyped about opening and logging in there. So what if we do DDoS? Like suppose we are selling on Amazon. What if we do DDoS on Flipkart? They would
You
have done
can,
something,
but
no, to
yeah,
prevent it.
they would have rate limiters. Like from one server, you can't have more
Uh,
requests in this particular time. Like a simple API gateway that we use, that itself has rate limiter. Like,
oh yeah, then Flipkart and all will have some insane.
yeah,
They recently released like a blog on what exactly how they structure their architecture for this big billion days sale
Hmm.
because they get this insane amount of traffic.
yeah.
Yeah. Sure, send the blog.
I don't know. I saw it on LinkedIn. I think I lost it. I have to look for it.
Imagine we build something that has like 10,000 transacting users, like
Yeah,
continuously people buying something. That will be crazy.
yeah,
Even if you have like a 1% failure rate, that's 100 people's transactions gone.
yes. One is
Okay, cool.
transaction, the other thing is like, yeah, the security part of it. Like,
Yeah, nice. Cool. I think Amit had some question.
Illa, I didn't have it. I didn't.
I think Prerna had a question.
Yeah, Brent.
Yeah, yeah.
I had something about cookies, but I kind of forgot what I was going to ask. Yeah. It's something about like same side cookies, and I was wondering if you can make some kind of like like attack with those kind of things. But if I remember what it was, I will tell you. I'll just DM you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
How much cookies? Okay, if I hack into somebody's cookies, what will I get?
Their session ID. Like, since cookies are stored on the client side, they're mainly structured in such a way they don't store much sensitive information.
Oh, then why do so what are sites actually getting from me when I give them access to my cookies? They get all the session IDs of the sites that I visited before.
No, no. Like cookies are separate for each site that you're visiting. They mainly store like user preferences so that when you're giving access to all cookies, suppose you prefer like dark mode over light mode or like some other preferences, stuff like that. Not your actual auth data. It can have your session ID, but then that session ID is stored in a database which has all the exact user and password credentials. So you need to have access to that also.
How do cookies like even look? Like what? They're all JSON objects. Can you
No, I
just
just showed you. Yeah, I'll show it
yeah?
again.
Can you show me some? Because I want to know what all information I can get from cookies to be able to create a site experience specific to a user.
So I just logged into my GitHub. So here there's local storage, which has all of these things. Like all of these are stored in like key value pairs. It's just a bunch of random things. What are you stored? In this session storage, there's nothing because I haven't used anything. So cookies has like all these things. Your saved user sessions, the time zone when was logged in, the color mode, the username, all of these things.
So, how do I check my cookies of all my past like sites that I visited?
Like all at once.
Yeah. So my question is, when I click on give access to cookies, what does the site actually see?
What do you mean? Like what does the site see?
So, for example, um, I'm just logging into some site, New York Times. When I click OK, allow access, and it says OK, give me access to all cookie data. Somehow this is not asking. Tell me another thing of India. What all am I giving access to?
Mainly your browsing history, so what all links you're going to, so that like sometimes when you visit like a previously accessed link, it already reloads because it's already cached because in your browsing history it's been stored that you already visited this site earlier. And then your interaction, your preferences on that site, how you're using it, what all you're doing. All this information is stored in the cookies. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. I think
Oh,
Satyan.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Sorry, I think I got cut off. What is this thing? Yeah, when I give access to a site, say, hey, allow all cookies, what all information does that site take from me?
Mainly, your like browsing history, what all sites you're accessing, like all the activities you do on that particular site, your preferences, uh, like everything you're doing on that site is basically being tracked.
Can I build a site, like any site that, suppose that blogging site that you built, and for whenever somebody enters, I can just make them click on accept all cookies.
Like like a pop-up, like you cannot make them accept all cookies. You can give them option.
Yeah. No, but currently none of the sites that we've built, we take cookie data of anybody, no?
Yeah.
Like for example, for say Hombalevers or the Kantara site where we get traffic, no? Can we take cookie data of everybody? How useful would that be to us?
But aren't you already tracking that information post hoc for the Kantara site?
Correct. I'm tracking what they're doing on my site, but I want to see what they've done on others so that I can do ad retargeting.
No, you don't get information of what they're doing on other sites.
Then what does accept, like, doesn't it check my browser history and check other sites that I've gone to?
No, no, no.
No?
Like what you're doing on that particular site.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Any other doubts, questions, guys? Puneet, Vidya, you've done a lot of auth recently.
Okay, I have no doubts.
All right, Akshita, shall we close?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you all for the session. Akshita, please share your PPT on the group
Yeah.
and send me what tool you use to build the PPT. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, I use like 2, 3 sites, I will share.
Yeah, cool. Everybody is randomly putting clapping emojis instead of showing their face and clapping links. Okay, Amit, share the record. And all of you, please send in
Yes.
your weekly update email by 1 p.m. As in, send it off right now as soon as you finish this. And CC everybody in your team, like Akshita, Puneet, Vidya, CC all of each other. Tejas, Apurva, Rahul, CC each other. Amit, Prerna, Varun, Surya can CC each other like that. Okay. And I don't know, we'll figure out some other structure to it also maybe next week. But for now, let's do this. Okay, send it by 1 p.m. because I realized that if we delay, then it comes to me only in morning. Okay, cool. Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Tej is Apurva, Rahul,